0808.
A CRN original.
Attention, you are about to hear the captivating voice of an icon in the movie industry. You have heard him and seen him in performances in over 140 films. He's met and influenced many world leaders, and now he's about to tell you how to unite the America he loves.
That job's filled.
Unique.
Unique.
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
And unpredictable.
Unpredictable.
Robert Davi is a Renaissance man who writes, directs, sings, and does it all with excellence.
Yeah, it's okay. We're all very impressed, but let's get on with it now.
Robert Davi believes he should use his voice to both repay and help unite America, the America that made his dreams come true.
No more Mr. Nice Guy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is The Robert Davi Show.
Good day, my fellow Americans. So, we have a myriad of things to discuss. Some of being, I couldn't help but turn on the TV this morning to watch a little bit of the news. And, of course, the networks are blasting the Pelosi investigation like they did that wonderful Russia collusion impeachment trial ad infinitum. And now they're doing this thing about January 6th, and I was not there. I have no idea. I have not really dug into the investigation, but it seems to me that we have an investigation being done that was. We'll see what happens. I don't want to. There's so much divisiveness, and it's hard for me to. I can't speak my mind. I'm not going to tell you, my dear friends, what's truly in my mind, and I'm unfortunate about that because it angers me that we're going through this particular thing in our history in America. It angers me that we have a political party, and both sides, the elite Republicans and the Democrats, that have forged an unholy alliance against the people of America, I believe. And irrespective of what happened, why isn't there an investigation? And look, I'm all for investigations if they're fair and if they're equitable, if they're quid pro quo. Where's the investigation on Schumer and the Russian collusion hoax? How come we haven't really got into the underbelly of that? Where's Durham? Where's all that information? Where's the information on what happened during the riots? Where's that big investigation? And what about Cuomo? What about Cuomo, Governor Cuomo? Where's the investigation on all the deaths that happened in the homes? Where's that? Because COVID was mishandled. They just dropped that. The DOJ just drops that. So they got a phone call from up above. Drop it. And they did. It's worse. Our government is worse than a mafia. And we've got Nancy Pelosi at the helm, who has family ties to the mafia from Baltimore, Maryland. Her dad, supposedly, D'Alessandro. Now, I don't know if that's true or not, but I've read about it multiple times. So she's more like Connie Carleone than she is a fair Speaker of the House. And when I met her, she was very, very kind and then there was a moment of her that I could see the absolute steel spine she has. And you need to have that, I think. But the more I look at Washington, D.C., the more it becomes like the Kremlin. Yeah, it's a sad thing to say. It's seemingly more like the Kremlin, where we have this media organization called Pravda that's giving us misinformation. It's sad to me. Very sad. And we can't speak up about it, can we? There's no way of us speaking up. Do you feel, watching that hearing, and recently what Chuck Schumer said, Do you feel that that's divisive to America? Or does it help us pull together? You know, I want to play what Chuck Schumer recently said about Donald Trump. And let's hear what Chuck Schumer said. Can you pull that up? Thanks, John.
You probably asked yourself the same question I asked myself. How could 74 million people vote for such a despicable human being as Donald Trump? And I don't care if you're a liberal or a conservative, Democrat or Republican. He is a vile man. He is dishonest. He is divisive. That's what he loves to do, just divide and have people fighting with each other. He's a racist. And he always appeals to the dark side of human nature, which he's very good at, unfortunately. How did they vote for him?
Now, that's Chuck Schumer. Now, I can give you many statements of Chuck Schumer's dark side. We could play many sound clips of his dark side. But for him to call, I need something less sleepy. I'm just orchestrating over here my music. So forgive me for a second here. It was a very sleepy segment. I'm already sleepy. I need something that's going to pump me up, John. Let's get something. Let's get to the meat of it. We don't need slow starts. That's another sleepy. Okay, that has a little. Yeah, that has something underneath it now. That'll get me going a little bit. I like speaking to music because it inspires. It wakes me up. Especially when I have to hold back so much that I want to say. I think it's dishonest of Chuck Schumer. He just said that Trump appeals to the dark side and that he's divisive and he's a racist. And yet he just said that 74 million people in America. What did he say about 74 million of you out there? And perhaps more. What did he just say? Did you hear him? And this is the problem, you see. This is what the left has done to America. Because the elite's greatest fear is that the left and right have a unity that they can combine in some way. See, that was happening with Trump. There was a populist, as Thaddeus Mercado says, a populist unity, and I've written about this on Breitbart even. So they use racial agitation, and that separates this unification because no one wants to be called despicable or a racist. And yet the left is labeling people that voted for Trump as racists. So that then disqualifies you from being a caring, loving American and human being because you're racist against a black and brown man and the Muslim. You're a Trump supporter, so you're a racist. And that creates inside of someone, even myself, who I supported Trump in the 2016 election. I supported him in the 2020 election. And because he put America first, that's why, nothing else. I separated personality from politics. And I wanted what was best for this nation, what I thought was best for this nation, and what could unify us. Because I know of the Marxist forces that are in there strangling us. It's worse than the knee on George Floyd's neck right now, what happens, what the left is doing. America is struggling for breath. I've said this before. And he just choked 74 million people, Chuck Schumer. Now let me tell you something about Chuck Schumer. And what they're doing here, you see, what they're doing is they're trying to split up both the left and the right populists with all this with cultural issues, with social justice issues and the whatnot. Because what will happen then is they will not have their perks and power and wealth. It's divide and conquer. You're a racist. And this person is a racist. He wants to destroy you and support systemic racism. He's a racist. You're a racist and you support systemic racism. Now, how can you combat that? as a human being, how can you sit back there and you just got hit in the face, like what happened to that poor guy in Brooklyn yesterday or over the weekend. Cold cock taken and stolen from. And yet the networks don't talk about that. Chuck Schumer doesn't talk about that. Why, Chuck? Why are you doing that, Chuck? Why are you choking 74 million people? See, that is the danger. And that has to be called out by every single one of you. We have to let the American people know that this divide and conquer is a strategy. It's an absolute strategy, nefarious. The left wants equity, diversity, inclusivity, and they use it as it's a prayer. It's a prayer. And they even used it with the vaccine to deflect, distract from any analysis of their conduct. And like what they're doing right now with this January 7th. And I'm not saying it shouldn't be investigated, but why isn't Cuomo investigated? Why did we not say anything? Why is it quiet? One day it happened, then it's gone. Why isn't every single Republican GOP left person that wants fairness and truth in America, why aren't they crying for who killed my grandparents? Why aren't they crying for who killed my grandparents in those homes? And what happened? But there's no investigation. Why? So they throw up January 6th to make everybody unified and go, we hate what Trump is doing and what the conservative movement is doing. When I come back, I'm going to show you how much Schumer has gotten from Trump.
The smartest way for you to get the lowest prices on your plane tickets, domestic or international, is to call SmartFares first or last, but you've got to call us before you book your plane tickets. Fly anywhere in the world, fly anywhere in the U.S., and SmartFares can save you up to 75% on your plane tickets. We have the lowest airline ticket prices on over 500 airlines, and you've got a great 12-hour free cancellation window. Plus, with our live agent help, you can always get fast help and fast answers. So on your next trip, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, how about right now? Pick up your phone and call SmartFares, plus save up to 75% on your plane reservation. So call right now. 800-915-2644. 800-915-2644. 800-915-2644. 800-915-2644.
It's been tough talking to my doctor about constipation with belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. I finally laid all my symptoms out there and how they keep coming back. She said I may have irritable bowel syndrome with constipation, or IBS-C. We agreed it's time to try something different.
Linzess, or linaclotide, is a prescription medicine that treats IBS-C in adults. Linzess works differently than laxatives. It lets you have more frequent and complete bowel movements and helps relieve overall abdominal symptoms, belly pain, discomfort, and bloating. These symptoms were studied in combination, not individually. Do not give Linzess to children less than 6, and it should not be given to children 6 to less than 18. It may harm them. Do not take Linzess if you have a bowel blockage. Get immediate help if you develop unusual or severe stomach pain, especially with bloody or black stools. The most common side effect is diarrhea, sometimes severe. If it's severe, stop taking Linzess and call your doctor right away. Other side effects include gas, stomach area pain, and swelling. There could be more to your story with IBS-C. Visit a doctor in person or online. Say yes to Linzess. Learn more at linzess.com or call 1-800-LINZESS. Sponsored by AbbVie and Ironwood Pharmaceuticals.
If Ernest Hemingway was alive today, would he say this to you?
Shakespeare, Mark Twain, Edgar Allan Poe, all great writers. And after reading your book, I simply must add you to the list.
Wait, you don't have a book yet. So make a free call to Page Publishing. Their expert staff can help you turn your book idea into a real book, a masterpiece that could someday make the bestseller list in hard copy and digitally all across the world. Page Publishing can help you completely take your idea for a book, write it, and publish it. So if you want to join the ranks of some of the most famous authors in the world, call now for a free information kit. Turn your book idea into publishing gold. Make a free call right now to Page Publishing.
800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. 800-378-3212. That's 800-378-3212.
Robert Davi.
You know, I'm the one delivering the message, not receiving it. So, Chuck Schumer, play that clip again because I want the American people to hear it before I give reference to this again. Play that little Schumer clip again, will you, John? Here it is, and I'll
You
talk.
probably asked yourself the same question I asked my son.
Go ahead.
How could 74 million people vote for such a despicable human being as Donald Trump? And I don't care if...
All right, despicable human being. In 2006, Schumer was on The Apprentice several times with his despicable human being, Donald Trump. 2006. Now, if someone is despicable to you, would you do that? Would you allow themselves on their show? And even if you're a politician or if you're a phony. Schumer's a phony. Schumer's a liar and he's a phony. And then what we have is Trump in Schumer's first 3 Senate campaigns in 98, 2004, and 2010. Along with Jared Kushner and Ivanka Trump and the brothers Eric and Donald, made 8 donations to Schumer's campaign. Trump Sr. made 9 contributions to the despicable human being, 9 contributions to Schumer, the corpse. Kushner and Ivanka made 6 contributions to the corpse, Schumer. And Donald Trump Jr. made 1 and Eric Trump 1. A total of 17. 17. And then, of course, in 2006 on The Apprentice. And also even in the Trump White House, some of his key economic advisors, cabinet members, political appointees are New Yorkers with a long history of supporting the corpse, Schumer. Jay Clayton, Trump's SEC chair, gave Schumer $1,000 to win in November. The wife of Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin gave Hillary Clinton $2,700 to beat her husband's new boss last year. Trump economic advisor Gary Cohn gave Clinton $750 to beat Trump. And Schumer's most trusted campaign donor is Goldman Sachs, the former home of both Mnuchin and Cohn, and the source of about over $500,000 in Schumer donations since 1989. All told, the Trump family and his Washington inner circle have cut 27 checks to Schumer since the late 1980s. And then there's much more. What they gave to the Democratic Party. Trump family donations to Democrats since 1990. 174 for Donald Trump. Jared and Ivanka, 67. Donald Trump, 10. And Eric, 1. And then you have, of course, the advisors and cabinet appointees since 1990. Gary Cohn, 121 contributions to Democrats. Steve Mnuchin, 47. Wilbur Ross, 35. Linda McMahon, 16. Walter J. Clayton, 13. On and on. Davos, 2. Ben Carson, 3. Now, why? I mean, that's fine. That's politics, right? Because money, not morality, is the principal commerce of civilized nations. And we are supposed to be a republic, but we're really something else. Our republic has been hijacked. They don't want unity. They want to split us apart. And that's why Chuck Schumer has the freedom to say 74 million people that voted for Trump. How could they do it to such a despicable person? I hate going on that, but it angers me. It angers me. It angers me that that Schiff could sit there again today, and he made up stuff. He made stuff up, and yet nothing happened. Are we that corrupt, the political system? Are politicians so kneeling at the foot of mammon and graft and corruption that they don't care about the truth? And look, Trump wasn't a politician for 45 years or 40 years or 30 years or 25 years. He did rock the boat. He was a tough businessman. I remember in Hollywood myself, every single Hollywood star I know, Donald Trump here is fantastic. They used to talk about Donald Trump. Only a few of them remained at least somewhat friendly because Trump became the symbol. He's the piñata of the left. Donald Trump is the piñata of the left and of the political elite, the GOP elite, an absolute piñata. And stuffed inside that piñata are 74 million voters. And they're beating the crap out of you because there's no defense. You have talk shows, you have radio, you have people like that, conservative voices, but there's really no defense. You have people trying to educate, but there's no defense. There is such a electric, or how do you say it's like being in a concentration camp with electrified wire. Because if you go past a certain point, you'll get electrocuted by the people in power, by the media, by Hollywood. So you can't touch certain issues because you'll get electrocuted. Is that free? Is that free? Is that honest? It's not fair. And it pains me. Now, I don't know what happened on January 6th. How do you get 1 million people and get them fomented after watching for 2 years the destruction and devastation of the inner cities, of the rampant disregard for police, for law and order, for justice? How do you watch that and not have a reaction to it? How do you watch people denigrating because of the color of your skin that you're white? Especially from blacks who went through it. This is where I talked about Shelby Steele yesterday, my dear friends. He says America is not a systemic racist country. It's not. And what happened with the black, he said, they've never been more free. But what it is, it's a developmental issue. A developmental issue. What does that mean? They haven't been given the proper tools to develop their cities. When you have a mayor like Lightfoot that doesn't want her city cleaned up, and you have untold shootings and deaths of young people, and I gave you the idea to clean up this nation and help these kids. It's the Earth Force, and no one talks about it. No one brings it up. The Earth Force. And I'm going to pound it again until somebody listens to me. What is the Earth Force? We've got the Air Force, the Marines, the Navy. When I come back, we'll talk about the Earth Force because I think it's the most vibrant. They're looking for answers. I heard them yesterday talk about what's the answer to all this violence. And I've talked to some of these people about the Earth Force, but no one will bring it up. With this big $3.5 trillion infrastructure bill, we should have an Earth Force. It'll take the inner cities. It'll take the kids from the inner cities and give them a purpose and an education and a reason. And it'll help the military, the retired guys coming back with PTSD and the whatnot. It has untold mental health problems that it'll solve or help solve. When we come back, the Earth Force is needed, and I need you to help me spread the word.
Let's talk about your credit cards. When you first start using them, it's a slow drip. You make charges, then more charges, then bills come, and they keep coming. When you open your statements, the floodgates come pouring in. You realize you have more credit card debt than you can afford, and you're barely making the minimum payments. Wouldn't it be nice to make one affordable payment and have all your credit card bills covered? Make this free call and learn our responsible way to get your credit card bills paid and under control.
Sponsored by Consumer Education Services, a nonprofit organization.
800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. 800-876-3643. That's 800-876-3643.
CESI is not a loan company. The establishment of a debt management plan may adversely affect your credit rating. Non-payment of debt may lead creditors to increase finance and other charges to undertake collection activity, including liquidation.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to ask you a question. Did you know withdrawing your cash from the bank can be very risky? That's right. So please listen up. Are you aware that banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any behavior they think is suspicious? It's true. I was shocked as I read Swiss America's blockbuster report, The Secret War on Cash. This new war against cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. Listen to me. You must read The Secret War on Cash. Now get your free copy by calling 866-219-3750. That's 866-219-3750. Or visit SwissAmerica.com. This war on cash is growing daily and also includes all forms of digital money. So please, get ahead, read The Secret War on Cash free to every Robert Davi fan today by calling 866-219-3750. That's 866-219-3750. And then you'll thank me later.
Tired of lockdown? Let the reconnect begin. You belong here. Welcome home to the magic of Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante in Fullerton, California. Check out our new spacious outdoor dining al fresco. Romantic. Market lights. It looks like a movie set. Dine under the stars and enjoy our tasty Angelo's and Vinci's pizza, pasta, seafood, chicken, salad dinners, and more. In the cool of the evening, come enjoy our award-winning menu, new wine list, specialty cocktails like our peach Bellini martini, appetizers, and more. Angelo's and Vinci's now open every day from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. for relaxing outdoor dining. No reservations needed. Just come on in for delicious Italian food. Angelo's and Vinci's Restaurante, 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton. Call 714-879-4022. We're going to need a lot of pasta to get through this year. Come to Angelo's and Vinci's at 550 North Harbor Boulevard in Fullerton today.
Trying to sell your old car? Instead, donate your vehicle to Heritage for the Blind. Pickup is free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats, whether they run or not. Call right now and receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to over 50 locations. Call 1-800-785-9618. Donate your car today. That's 1-800-785-9618.
All right, is that a Q2 or a Q3 expense?
Dwayne's CPA went MIA.
Nah.
To keep his books and his sanity, he needs to find a replacement ASAP.
Hey, Johnny, have you ever heard of a fungible good?
Indeed can help him hire the people he needs.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. When you sponsor a job, you immediately get your short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The Robert Davi Show.
I'm Dwayne Robinson, LAPD. I'm in charge here.
Not anymore. My dear friends, I am searching for my paper on the Earth Force that I sent to people inside the Trump administration or people close to the Trump administration. So I'll give you the history of the Earth Force once again, because I think it will solve so many multiple problems. And I don't know why. I don't know why it's not being. It perplexes me. Let me put it that way. It perplexes me that that no one's interested in it. That I can't get traction on it. Maybe you can tell me why. Maybe you can tell me why it's not working, or why it doesn't get the traction it should get. The Earth Force. And you just bear with me here. And I want to find this darn thing. I wish I had. I'm looking through my computer here. Earth Force. Okay, we got it. Okay, dear friends. Now I'll open this up. Now, we all know about young Greta, right? That young Greta. Come on, why isn't this? Oh, it's not. It's not opening up for some reason. So I'll send it to myself again. Hopefully it'll open up. Bear with me. This is what's fun about things. Oh, I may be directing a film. Yeah. I got an offer to direct a film in Serbia. I'll tell you more about it as it goes on. It's very interesting. I think you'll enjoy it. It's kind of political. Okay, Earth Force. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Here we go. Now, this is a proposal I had for a U.S. initiative and a global UN initiative. And this would take care of a myriad of problems. Now, somebody could argue how climate change comes about. But we all must agree that it's in a constant flux, okay? Climate change. And if the current trends continue, there could be catastrophic effects around the world. Ice caps melting, sea levels rising, areas becoming too or flooded to inhabit. Violent and intense weather conditions, floods, fires, earthquakes, massive rains, homeless epidemic, mutations, viruses, and increases in animal and insect population. Every part of the world is being touched in some way. And also imminent migration from affected areas will create a crisis in housing. Okay, so catch that first statement of my paper. Now, we're experiencing unprecedented challenges. And many of the most influential people have said we are facing the most dangerous threat of our lives. Get that. Put that down. Most dangerous threat of our lives. More so than World War II even. Nazi Germany. More so than World War II. This is the most dangerous threat of our lives coming up. And our youth is crying out for solutions. Tens of millions around the world are engaged in protests. Schools, political leaders encourage protests. And this is all well and good, my dear friends, but it's not the solution. It's not solution-based. Now, the U.S. and the United Nations have a unique opportunity to bring the leaders of several nations together and begin one of the most exciting global initiatives in our time. What is it? The Earth Force. If this is bigger than World War II, more dangerous than Nazi Germany, and everyone bowing down to an Aryan race, if this is so, more dangerous then why isn't there an Earth Force? And this would take care of so many issues that we're facing as a global community. And I've had this germinating inside of me for years. And the time is now. Since it was first brought to me, called the Earth Corps, in 1990, and I brought it to the Hollywood community. I'll say it again until it's finally grabbed onto by someone out there. The Hollywood community, Bonnie Reese, was head of ECHO. And I went and I spoke before them and I presented them with this idea called the Earth Corps, given to me by a guy named Jim Pinkerton, who's still out there, and another gentleman who helped build the Vietnam Wall. I call it now the Earth Force. And they told me at that time that for every 60 inner-city young men or women, for every 60 inner-city young men or women who wish to join the armed forces in the United States, 59 are turned down. Think about that. For every 60 that want to join in the inner cities, 59 are turned down for some reason or other. And I suspect this happens throughout the world. But just let's take America. Let's take Chicago, for instance, where all the shootings are happening, or the inner cities. And people wonder why these kids are fighting each other. It's the gangs that are fighting each other in Chicago, and the mayor, the useless mayor over there, I don't know what, lightweight. They call her Lightfoot. I call her lightweight. She should be doing something about it. As President Obama should have. But they use it. They use it to separate us. So instead of that, this is why Earth Force isn't getting any traction, because it's a solution-based issue. It's an answer to a problem. It's an elimination to a problem. Do you realize what this would do now? Imagine the energy of all these young hearts and minds that are now going to a negative because they have no place Some of them can't get the education they want. They don't get the initiation into manhood or womanhood that they should get. So a cartel takes them over, or criminal activity takes them over. Now imagine if there was an Earth Force that they could join. Their lives would have purpose, become meaningful, become part of something greater than themselves. And there's nothing better than becoming part of something greater than yourself. Do you know the United States alone, 20 veterans commit suicide every day? Think of that. 20 veterans every day commit suicide. And I suspect this happens in other countries. Do you know that there's a rising epidemic of veterans homelessness? I suspect this is happening around the world. Did you know there is an epidemic of deaths caused by drug addiction in the United States, more so than ever before now? I suspect this happens around the world. What are some of the reasons? Well, in regards to returning veterans who have been battle-worn, many have to re-enter civilian life without re-assimilation. Do you understand that? Now, if you've ever gone scuba diving or flying, once you are down or up for a certain amount of time and you re-enter, what happens? You could get sick. You could get the bends. Now, apply this issue to soldiers around the world. They finish their time in the military and come right back to society. They get no time to reacclimate because it causes severe stress. PTSD, a variety of issues. Now imagine if there was an Earth Force. These soldiers who are now back in the general population could be offered an opportunity to save lives and use their skills to help train the Earth Force. Do you understand? Two big problems facing our nation, the world. Three, with all the environmental issues. This one idea, why aren't they accepting it? Why is no one on the left or the right calling me up and saying, Robert, come here, let's discuss the Earth Force? Why? Why? Is it a stinky idea? Tell me. One person tell me why it's no good. It makes no sense to me because politicians want to split us apart and not give us solutions. This is a solution to so many different things. Benefit the whole world and take several negatives and make them positives. Veterans would have purpose. They'd now be using their skills to better our world, not for battle. That in itself would provide healing. They would now be close to nature, teaching reforestation, battling fires like the ones in the rainforest of Brazil or in areas of California. They would be a teaching force to replant trees, reforestation, toxic cleanups, natural disasters, floods, earthquakes, building homes, structures for the misplaced, rebuild inner cities, clean up the beaches, oceans, streets of all the waste, hazard material, excrement. They would teach. When we come back, more.
What are you going to do with your old car? You can try selling it, you could junk it, or you could donate it to Heritage for the Blind. Your car will be towed away for free, and your donation is tax deductible. Just call 1-800-785-9618. Heritage for the Blind accepts cars, vans, trucks, and boats. It doesn't matter if your vehicle runs or not. It will be towed away for free, and you'll be supporting those that need help. Heritage for the Blind is a nonprofit organization that helps the visually impaired live fuller lives. Call right now to donate your car, and as a special thank you for calling, you'll receive a free 3-day vacation voucher to many exciting locations. Call Heritage for the Blind right now, 1-800-785-9618. Donating is easy, and your vehicle is towed away for free. Plus, you'll get a free vacation voucher. Call now, 1-800-785-9618. That's 1-800-785-9618.
When you really want Italian food, you have got to get to Columbo's. Columbo's Italian Steakhouse and Jazz Club, Colorado Boulevard, Eagle Rock. It's that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Citizens, no need now to clamor for culinary gustatorial delights. Dreams do come true. Columbo's has triumphantly reopened its golden doors to feed the famished and soothe the savage beast. Bask in the delights of Colombo's succulent steaks, Neptune's superior offerings from the seven seas, Colombo's family Italian specialties, and of course, their world-famous meatballs, and it's all so affordable. Yes, Colombo's, the ninth wonder of the world, the Southern California pantheon dedicated to unrivaled and unparalleled yum-yum. Colombo's, that little neighborhood place you wish was down the street from you. Colombo's, mangia bene.
Now it's time for MedVed's Entertainment Minute.
Basketball superstar LeBron James wants to rescue his son who's been trapped by a rogue algorithm played by Don Cheadle inside a high-tech world called the Serververse. But the only way to achieve that noble goal is to team up with classic Warner Brothers cartoon characters, including, well, you know who, in Space Jam: A New Legacy, playing in theaters and streaming on HBO Max.
What is this? I'm a cartoon?
What's up, Doc? This whole kooky confection is, of course, based on the 1996 version of Space Jam that featured another basketball legend named Michael Jordan, who didn't try nearly as hard as LeBron when it comes to acting range, and that doesn't really work in LeBron's favor. The sentimental scenes of father and son reconciliation are neither funny nor touching, though some of the silly gags are intermittently amusing. It's rated PG, 2 stars for Space Jam: A New Legacy, where it's hard to conceive that they mount another lame sequel.
Robert Davi.
Another $80 million write-off.
I guess it's time to start cutting overhead.
To continue on what the Earth Force can accomplish, cleaning up the beaches, oceans, and streets of all the waste, hazard materials, excrement. They would teach how to do plumbing, electricity, water salinization, construction, reforestation, rescue techniques. An Earth Force that can be used anywhere in the world. New energy solutions that can be implemented, built, trained on how to build it. The infrastructure of America. What could $3.5 trillion, what could $1 trillion do with this kind of thing? How much is put? Do me a favor, John. Would you Google right now? Do you have a moment to Google or no? How much we spend on our national defense? How much is spent on the national defense, which we need? What is it in the trillions of dollars as I continue on here? So anyway, so when disasters happen, like in Haiti a few years back, or more recently in the Bahamas or New Orleans or anywhere in the world, the Earth Force could respond to assist in any disaster. They can be deployed in maintaining cleanup of all cities, beaches, oceans. And as we are facing new clean energy challenges, we would have an Earth Force assisting in implementation of new energy solutions. Our youth, with all their energy to protest about race and everything else, and ripping up the inner cities and looting, and now they would have a place to put that energy. Those who were ejected from military service, those who really believe this is our greatest threat, more than World War II, can now constructively serve. Imagine the difference that would make. I'm going to give you 2 different examples where an individual, one person, made a huge difference just wanting to do something and not just talk or protest in the streets or dance. A guy named Afraj Shah. He spent 3 years and cleaned up Mumbai Beach and the mangroves. 3 years, over 10 to 12 tons of garbage on the beach. No turtles were able to hatch on it. And if I showed you the picture of it, imagine any pristine beach you've seen covered 3 feet deep in garbage, in dirt, in trash. And for 20 years, turtles never survived. Now close your eyes and imagine that same beach that had all that, the tonnery of garbage. Imagine that pristine. And now imagine turtles thriving once again. And they have. After 20 years, they have begun to thrive and hatch once again. Did you find that statistic?
I do. According to Statista.com,
$1.92 trillion US dollars in 2019.
Okay.
Is the military spending global budget.
Global budget.
That has, and it's saying that it has grown steadily in the past years.
Yes, of course. Now imagine, $3.5 trillion on infrastructure. We can't take $1 trillion and create an Earth Force and go into the inner cities assertively, with hope, and say, come join us. We'll help you get off addiction. You know what I mean? I see it. I see where they can, and they have so many military barracks that have now been obsolete because of new technologies and everything else, how battle is played. But yet the Earth Force, taking this vibrant youth that are killing each other in the streets and saying to them, here's your greater purpose. Imagine that, you know. Greta galvanized all these kids, and instead of screaming with pink hair and everything else, and I'm not mocking hair, it's just a cliched image in my own head. And there's another guy, a guy named Scott Pressler, who cleaned up areas that were overrun by excrement, toxic hazard waste, needles, rats, infected, bringing typhus and bubonic plague to Los Angeles. In one day, over 10 tons of dangerous rot were cleaned up. A guy named Scott Pressler. And you should see those before and after pictures. So you have two individuals in two different parts of the world. Interesting, isn't it? You have Afraz Shaw, and you've got Scott Pressler. They're examples that should be shown to our youth to do something, be part of something constructive, and not just protest, which is an awareness technique but not a solution. If our youth today is truly serious, then the Earth Force is a global solution to our most pressing global danger. You understand? There it is, right there. In a nutshell. Why isn't Jeff Bezos putting $500 million into this idea instead of going to space? Jeff, good man, Jeff. You could do a lot with this idea. $500 million. I'm asking you, Jeff. Warren Buffett. I'm asking all the modern-day leaders of industry today. Who's the other big billionaire that's out there?
Tim Cook.
Tim Cook from Apple. Imagine what he could do. Tim Cook from Apple. And what about the other guy that has Facebook? Mark Zuckerberg. Hey, Zucky, come on. Put your money where your mouth is.
Can't forget Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, of course. The big needle. The big Bill. Come on, Bill. Not only vaccines, come on, and pandemics. Have a solution to this issue. Let's help America, you big captains of industry. If we are facing the most terrifying global catastrophic era, if this is, and that's what they're telling us, that's what Biden says, that's what everybody says, then we got to be prepared. If man is responsible and we need to implement new energy solutions across the globe, then we need each nation of the world to contribute. Like NATO. Like NATO. We need a NATO of the environment, and the Earth Force is the solution. If they fund militaries around the world to protect their self-interests, and now all these countries now commit, you know, Paris Accord, climate change is the most pressing problem facing us all, don't you think it's a small price to pay for survival? And they have migrants or folks living off of social programs. Well, now they can help serve Earth Force and earn credits, yes, toward education and other living needs. The youth can serve, then receive education after 6 years of service. There are multiple ways to have funding from both public and private sources. And there's no excuse. What we have now is the necessity for the Earth Force. Now we must have the will for a global solution. And let it start in America, Mr. President, Kamala Harris. Directly to you. Let it start with leadership, true leadership. Have someone that's a conservative come to the White House and discuss this further. Let's start this if you really want to unify the nation. Here's the biggest program that can be done for our country. The Earth Force. You think it'll get any traction? Nah. You get a lot of head noddings. But I've talked to retired military personnel, and they tell me that it's absolutely doable. Absolutely doable. You know, for whatever reason, the good Lord hasn't put me in a position to really have the ear of someone. Because if I had the ear to Donald Trump at a certain point, I think he would have seen the vibrantness of this. So I need someone out there that has some power to give me a moment to talk about this. Probably they'll steal it, which is okay, as long as it gets done. But it would hurt a little bit, since I've been touting this for over, how many years? 10, 20, 30? I'm off the air. Was I off? Okay. I thought I went deaf for a second. My lips were moving, but I wasn't hearing anything. What do you think of this idea, John?
I think it's brilliant. I question.
Can you put yourself on camera here?
Yeah, let's do. Let's
come on.
Have it.
Let's have a discussion here.
I feel as though that you know, there are some powers that be that are anti, you know, but I feel as though that it makes sense theoretically, and I feel as though that, you know, when I listen to different plans that people like Bernie Sanders have, right, seems pretty radical to say something like, you know, free health care or free education. But what are we actually saying? You know, what was it that he was actually proposing? You know, and I feel as though that it falls under the lines of a lot of what you're talking about.
Well, Bernie Sanders went about it a whole different way.
Yeah.
You see, there was a solution of giving free without giving back. And the Earth Force lets you have what you need, but you give back.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We have to be able to find solutions where people can benefit, but the society as a whole isn't drained.
Yeah.
And by giving, that's why the same thing about my immigration program. You know, I talked about illegals being here. And for every year they've been here illegally, they should do some kind of community service.
Yeah.
Well, the Earth Force would be a way they can, and it's not putting them to death.
Right.
It's teaching them things. It's giving them then the ability for health care, for everything else.
Right.
In society. Is that what you're talking about? I mean, because I don't know where Bernie said. Bernie wants to give. He's a socialist, Marxist. It doesn't work. It collapses.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm saying is this Earth Force idea benefits so many different areas of society and the country.
Right.
Because it just makes sense to me. You know what I mean? And it enables us to do what we want like that. You know?
Yeah.
Anyway, God bless all of you. See you tomorrow. Earth Force. Tell your friends.
Are you tired of your favorite talk show sounding like this? What if you can hear your favorite talk shows in
Crystal clear, high-definition sound? Well, with CRN Digital Talk Radio, 7 channels of high-definition radio, you can now hear all your favorite hosts like you've never heard them before. In true CRN high-definition audio, the difference is amazing. Catch your favorite political hosts like Dennis Prager, Michael Medved, Tom Hartman, Stephanie Miller, Larry Elder, Sebastian Gorka, Charlie Kirk, and more. Fred Dreyer on sports, entertainment, and lifestyle.